So, what is the story of my consumption behind my travel experiences? As the name suggests, it is my consumption of travel experience stories over time. I reflect on what I desire, what I explore, what I discover, what I buy, the journey, the encounter, and what I take back with me. The visual beauties of heritage sites, like the 1778 painting by Giuseppe Pedretti, the 1631 ceiling painting of St. Dominic Chapel by Guido Reni, the statue David by Michelangelo, or the 18th century French furniture from Marie Antoinette's bedroom, and the King Louis IV dining chamber captivate the younger me. I usually only research where to visit and how to get there before leaving the country. It makes everyone research before traveling much easier by comparing the prices available online. I can spend hours consuming media by looking for tickets and accommodation. Apart from that, by exploring many recommendations through internet and social media, I discover many places that I can visit apart from the main heritage places during my trip, including restaurants, local shops, local events like weekend market, street foods, or local attractions. It is amazing how good new media and social networking operations like Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram are at finding ways of connecting with audience worldwide. As I have changed my perspective visiting places, even before I visit or arrive to destination, I learn and research about the detailed history of the places if I were to visit a historical site. Without realizing it, this is the one of the impact that the digital environment's having in our practice of cultural consumption. The amount of time I spend researching the historical site is significantly longer than what I used to do prior to the trip.
Five Sisters window was dedicated to all the women of the Empire that lost their lives in the First World War, the only such dedication in the country. The window dates from the mid-1200s but was rededicated around 1924.
Using a convenient language to deliver the content, especially for those who are using English as a second language like me, makes it more understandable and easier to simply learn from watching. Partly to help someone like me, who is searching for suggestions on what else I might do in a little town like York to add excitement to my trip. After almost 24 hours journey between flights and bus from Perth to York in UK, I check into my accommodation that I found online. And from the search, I found many places that I could visit surrounding the historical site. As my main destination are historical sites, the primary focus on leisure travel is on historic Paris, with neighboring shops and restaurants profiting from the traffic. And that includes the restaurant to satisfy my food consumption. Not only that, I also get to see and learn about their culture through their cuisines. Do you know consuming food goes beyond the eating? It is affirmation of identity, personal or ethnic of national. I also discover where to get into the local shops to indulge my recreational shopping consumption during my trip. For this, I'm a type of leisure shopper which has more of a recreational or entertainment goal in mind when heading for the shops, including window shoppings or participating in other forms of entertainment like try out some clothes, shoes, or sunglasses. Local events such as weekend market or street food festival may feature theme-inspired dishes or local specialties tied to the cultural link between the food and the historical setting. While local attractions have the potential to boost the economy and introduce the local culture, like museum, cruise along the river, or other tour operators that are the world specially constructed for visitor experiences. Heritage churches are now my desired places to visit. It's not that I am religious or Christian. Every time I enter the cathedral, its beauty never ceases to amaze me. From the stone architecture back in the 7th century to their embroidery ceremony uniform. York Minster is the UK's largest medieval cathedral. The cathedral is not a world that are constructed for a visitor experiences, but rather a heritage that has been there since the 7th centuries and influenced the lifestyles and economic growth in the area. However, in the addition to serving as a place of worship, the cathedral has made concessions to welcome tourists. Using the collected revenue for the cathedral's maintenance and upkeep, the cathedral is open 7 days a week, from 9 to 4, with only 2 hours available on Sunday at midday for mass purposes. The tour began by informing us that the York Minster's head, which is the Bishop of the Diocese of York, is one of the largest geographical in England. The word Minster itself comes from the Latin monasterium, which could describe not only monastery, but also any church looked after by a group of clergies living communally. York Minster was a cathedral because it was the headquarters of Bishop. It is a symbol of his authority as a teacher and governor of the church in the area. The Archbishop led 470 parishes, over 600 churches, and 127 schools. The York Archbishop is the third most important person in England after the King of England and the Archbishop of Canterbury, who is the principal leader of the Church of England. The tour takes about 2 hours, and as a tour leader myself, it is such a challenge to extract 1200 years of history into 2 hours information. The tour guide explained the history of every chamber in the hall, as well as the artifacts that were added over the years since the cathedral stood in the 7th century, which added the pre-existing historical weight and cultural backdrop of the location themselves. The tour provided me with an abundance of information that I couldn't find online. Visitors may experience a sense of connection with the rich history of England. the end of my tour, I stopped at their souvenir shop. They sell many customized items that make tourists remember their visit to the Minster, like shirts, tea towel, ceramics, religious and historical items, books, keychains, and postcards. However, there are a lot of items that have no connection to the Minster for sale as well, such as coloring sets, stationeries, stress balls, or animal growing eggs that you can find in Kmart, which are very popular among the tourists with the children. The main purpose of the shop's profit is to raise funds for the Minster operation sustainability. To summarize, I engage in various practices of consumption throughout my travels or in my everyday lives. Whether we're realizing it or not, we are consuming something while we're asleep, such as the usage of air conditioning in our room. And finally, my tourism consumption made me participate in all forms of consumerism like food, media, shopping, education, and tourism itself, especially for a tourism that require us to stay overnight or leaving the country by plane. It is expensive, but it will enrich your life experiences.